this has Rams fans fired up heading into this upcoming season and a schedule release, as well as we have a really heartwarming story off the field to cover about a specific player and how this will boost the team morale and their morale heading into next season and the future. And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh, and before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell so that you do not miss any great and daily Rams news from the Rams Digest channel. Make sure to hit that button. It's free. We'd love to have you on board, Josh and I, and we've been really enjoying all the support we've been having lately. Already about to hit 3,300 subscribers in May. This has been great. We've grown over 200 subscribers in the last couple weeks, so thank you very much to everybody who's hitting that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do so. Now we're going to head into today's big story of the day that has every Rams fan fired up. As we know, the schedule release is coming up, and our friends over at the Rams Wire have made some predictions and given some analysis on these potential matchups that we're going to head into right now. In the Los Angeles Rams' path to a third straight postseason appearance and a second straight NFC West title won't be easy in 2025. Their schedule is one of the toughest in football, including matchups with teams like the Ravens, the Lions, defending champion Eagles on the docket, as well as the Bucs and the NFC West. The Rams know which 14 teams they will be facing this season, but the dates of these games will be decided on Wednesday during the NFL schedule release show at 5 p.m. Pacific time only on NFL Network. With several road trips to the East Coast and home matchups with the Southern Divisions, all eyes will be on the Rams' 2025 schedule as we wait to see when they'll play each of their 17 games. And this is going to be very important, especially for certain games where these games are held, as to how they can impact the Rams' record, especially given who they're going up against right here. And the big thing here is that the Rams will not be facing the Eagles in the season opener. This had a lot of momentum heading into this upcoming season, that the Rams and Eagles was pretty much almost a guarantee to be an opening weekend, or at least potentially even a Thursday night game opener. But now, as we see, the Eagles will be hosting the Cowboys in Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season for their first game. And the Eagles will unveil their new Super Bowl banner on that night, September 4th, before facing their divisional rivals. And by the way, before we get any further, this is great. This is great. I can't wait to watch the Cowboys see the Eagles hoist a season Super Bowl banner. Maybe this will inspire Jerry Jones to make some more moves. They just made the move for Pickens, which helps them even more right now. But, the Eagles are at a different level than the Cowboys are right now in that division. And maybe this will spark the fire, even in players too, like Dak and Micah Parsons, the new coaching staff over there, to really get them underway. But this is an amazing way to start the season. I think it's the correct thing to do here. And as we know, the Rams do have all of their opponents already laid out as to who they'll play. Looking at the home schedule, there's no cupcake games on here at all, really, except for the Saints. But we do have the Seahawks and Niners and Cardinals, the 3 divisional games there. All 3 of those games are going to be tough. The Seahawks are a huge Mike McDonald guy. We'll see what Sam Darnold is. A Cooper Kupp homecoming will be emotional for them. If K9 is healthy, we'll see what that does. They bolstered the O-line with the Greg Zabel draft pick, and that should be good. And the Niners, if they're healthy, we know the Shanahan-McVay duo matchups are always going to be must-watch TV for that offensive play calling. We got the Cardinals, third year now, Jonathan Gannon, so he's going to be on the hot seat a bit. They were close in a lot of games last year. They were a fun story for part of the year. They crushed the Rams early in the season, by the way. I remember that game. I happened to play against someone in fantasy who had Marvin Harrison Jr. That game. Yeah, not fun. The Saints, not much to say there with Derek Carr retiring. I did see potential reports that they might be trading for Shador, so we will see if that is the case. The Bucs, fun team. Love me some Baker Mayfield. Huge Baker Mayfield guy over here. Todd Bowles, don't know about that as the coach. You got Evans, you got Godwin, you got Bucky Irving. A nice young defense. Yaya Diaby, look out for him to make an even bigger step forward this year. Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, my guy, California guy. You got Joe Mixon out there. Nico Collins is healthy. You drafted the duo out of Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, so we'll see how that works at receiver. The Colts, good coach in Shane Steichen. You got Michael Pittman. The defense, you got DeForest Buckner. But besides that, your quarterback battle, and Jonathan Taylor obviously, is between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. So we'll see how that turns out. And then you got the Lions. That's the game of the year for the Rams to be at home for. And for that, that's a tough one with Dan Campbell. They did lose Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator, where Jared Goff did have a career year. So that's definitely going to be an interesting way to end things there. And I want you to leave a comment down below. What do you believe their record will be at home this year for the Rams before the season starts and before we see the actual schedule? Because we need to see how these games are stacked up, who they'll come off playing before they play each of these teams as well. And now heading on to the away schedule, obviously, we got the 3 divisional teams again. Got the Carolina Panthers. Interesting matchup right there. Bryce Young, another California guy, Orange County guy, modern day, will, be able to take that step forward again in year 3. They drafted Teteroa McMillan, another California guy. And yeah, they should look to make a big step. They did just cut Jadeveon Clowney. Hopefully J.C. Horn can stay healthy because he's really good when he is. The Falcons, Raheem Morris. The Rams go to their former defensive coordinator's house now, Raheem Morris. Good coordinator for the Rams, helped us win a Super Bowl. And we'll see what Michael Penix does over there and that new and improved defense with Jalen Carter and James Pierce Jr. You got the Jaguars, Liam Cohen. You got a former Rams scout, now their GM over there as well. Travis Hunter, getting to see Travis Hunter. Hopefully that's a primetime game. Titans, got Cam Ward. And you got Cam Ward. The Eagles, the Super Bowl champions, obviously. Don't need to name everyone on their team. You know it. Would be nice to get, a little comeback victory over there after the way the season ended. And the Ravens, the last time the Rams and Ravens played, the Ravens won in overtime on a kickoff return. On a punt return, rather. Yeah, close game. Harbaugh, McVay, 2 of the best coaches in the NFL. You got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Mark Andrews is going to be out for revenge after the way his season ended. That defense was looking better and better. You got Roquan Smith. You got Marlon Humphrey. You got Kyle Hamilton. And then they just added Malachi Starks from Georgia out there as well. So that should improve the defense, even more. And in this schedule, something you might notice is that the Rams do have to play a lot of elite level quarterback talent as well. So we're going to go into another story about Rams Wire. The 5 best quarterbacks that the Rams will be facing in their season, no matter when the games are, as that should be very, very interesting to see here. And now heading into that, the Los Angeles Rams are gearing up for a campaign with high hopes following a playoff run that saw them just moments away from an NFC Championship game appearance. Still, their push to the playoffs won't be easy, especially considering the quarterbacks on their schedule. From MVPs to Super Bowl champions, LA is set to face some of the NFL's top signal callers this season. And as I said, here's a look at those 5. Starting off at number 5, debatable here, we have Kyler Murray. Obviously, when Kyler's healthy, his quickness and improvisation, he turns any play into a highlight reel and a disaster for the defense. He's a wild card in every matchup, and while the Cardinals are still retooling, Murray's athleticism alone makes him a threat that the Rams cannot overlook. And this article is speaking facts. Again, I'm going to keep referencing that game early in the season before the Rams made some defensive changes as well in their defensive starting lineup. The Cardinals, I believe it was week 2 or week 3, really just poured it on to the Rams, winning by like 30 points. All I remember is that the Cardinals did score 46 points. Kyler last season, coming off a bit of a down year, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions on that season, 68.8 completion percentage and 3,800 yards. Heading into next season, we'll see what he does there. And now at number 4, we got someone who I'm still really high on, C.J. Stroud of the Texans. Stroud has led the Texans to back-to-back AFC South championships in his first 2 years under center. He blends accuracy, poise, and big playability. With another year under his belt and a more healthy receiving core, besides Sankdell, we'll see how long he's out for, if he even comes back at all, which I hope he does this upcoming year. He's just not a rising star. He's already one of the toughest quarterbacks to stop. The Rams' secondary is going to be under pressure from every snap, and this will be Los Angeles' defense's first time playing against a Pro Bowl signal caller in the regular season. Yeah, under Chris Shula, they are correct about this. Depending on when this game is, we'll see when this game is scheduled, because maybe they play a Lamar Jackson or a Jared Goff level quarterback first. So we will see how that is. Stroud really coming off of a down year, 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 63.2% completion percentage rate, and 12 interceptions. Obviously, had some injuries there, and the O-line has gotten even worse. But C.J. Stroud, he is able to move a little bit outside of the pocket, which he will have to do if he wants really any chance at all to win those matchups right there. Now, moving on to number 3, Jared Goff of the Lions. A familiar face returns home to battle the Rams once again. Goff has really resurrected his career out there in Detroit, leading one of football's most balanced and explosive offenses. While he's not flashy, Goff's decision-making and timing make him a legitimate threat, especially while the ball's in the air. Goff has gone 2-1 versus the Rams since being dealt to the Lions in 2021, including a victory in the 2023 wild card round. Yeah, that was a tough loss there for the Rams. However, Goff really kind of got exposed in that playoff game. Got sacked a lot by the Commanders. He did throw multiple interceptions. There were some fumbles there that were not his fault. Obviously, Jameson Williams threw one of the picks, so again, not on Goff there either. But for Goff, let's see how they are without Ben Johnson, because the last couple years he's had Ben Johnson as that play caller. And we've seen, McVay, that's where he became a Pro Bowler, and now with Ben Johnson, he resurrects his career. So we'll see how this looks, and we'll see how Dan Campbell is as a coach without Ben Johnson, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because that will be very important to determine, is Dan Campbell elite, or is it Ben Johnson that's really helped out all of the players over in Detroit? And now, moving on to number 2, we have Jaylen Herz, the defending Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. Rams-Eagles is perhaps the biggest rematch on the schedule. Jaylen Herz is the engine of what is arguably the most complete roster in the NFL and possibly the entire league. A dual-threat quarterback with MVP upside, Hertz brings physicality, leadership, and his ability to beat defenses as a dual threat on the air or the ground. He has led the Eagles to a Super Bowl run that saw them barely beat the Rams 28-22 back in January. The toughest test the Eagles really faced all year, from what I remember in any game throughout the entire season. Again, this will all depend on how the Rams will be able to stop the run from Hertz and from Saquon. Again, the Rams have made some moves to really bolster that run defense because Jaylen Hertz on the ground, 630 rushing yards, but check this, 14 rushing touchdowns, 18 touchdowns, 5 picks passing-wise. Under 3,000 passing yards, but that doesn't seem to matter there for the Eagles as they continue to keep on winning. And now we get on to our number 1 quarterback right now, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. The 2-time MVP and 3-time All-Pro remains one of the most electrifying players in the NFL. Jackson's ability to extend plays and break open a defense with his legs or his arm will challenge the Rams' discipline and tackling on all 3 levels of the field. That is a key when playing the Ravens, open field tackling. If LA can't contain the edge, Jackson could make them pay in chunks. The last time both of these teams met, it ended in a 37-31 overtime win for the Ravens in the 2023 season, while Jackson and Stafford combined for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. Yeah, high-flying offensive game. That's what this game looks to be like yet. Again, for, the Rams and for Jackson, 4,100 passing yards last year, 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, 66.7% completion rate. On the ground, 915 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. A true dual threat quarterback. And I want you to leave a comment down below right now. How do you think the Rams will fare against these quarterbacks, and which quarterback poses the toughest test to this new and improved defense? Comment down below how you think the Rams will fare, and who do you think the toughest test is for the defense. And now to our final feel-good story of the video. We have some off-field news for Rams star receiver Puka Nacua. Now as we get on to that right now, Puka right there with his girlfriend have announced that they are having a baby boy. This is a screenshot from a video posted on Puka Nacua's social media account. Again, before we end, just want to say congratulations to the Nacua family for starting this chapter of their lives. Wishing Puka nothing but the best in fatherhood and wishing his family all the best. This is an amazing moment. Like this video for Puka Nacua becoming a father. And that is it for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you everybody so much for watching today's episode. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you do not miss any daily Rams Digest videos. And make sure to comment down below Rams record predictions before the schedule release on Wednesday, as well as which quarterback you think poses the toughest test to the defense, as well as a congrats to Puka as well for becoming a parent. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon for another episode of Rams Digest.